हरि ओम। वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste, friends. Welcome to session 41 of the new series Gift Gita for Inner Freedom and Transformation, a study of selected verses from Bhagavad Gita based on Shankara Bhashya. In today's session, we will continue our study of 8th chapter with verses 8.16 to 8.20. To explain these verses, we have Sri Bullas, Srimati Rama Gopala Krishna, Srimati Purnima, and Dr. Manjula Devi. Dr. Gautam Divakar sir will moderate the session and bring out the finer points. Let's now listen to the introduction of the day's topic by Dr. Divakar. Over to you, Divakar sir.
Thank you very much, Venkatesh sir. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. With the deepest sense of gratitude and reverence to all the Gurus, the Guru Parampara, Dr. Timma Pegade, and the Param Vedanta team for organizing these talks. In the process of we moderating, talking about and explaining these verses, one thing we have realized is that we are the biggest beneficiaries in this. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. So we are studying the 8th chapter, Akshara Brahma Yoga. We all know that the 8th chapter is in the second Shatkam, the second Dvitiya Shatkam of the Bhagavad Gita. So we all know Bhagavad Gita is the 3 sets of 6 chapters each. In the Tat Tvam Asi Mahavakya, the Tvam Padartha is dealt in the first Shatkam. Tat Padartha, the nature of the God, nature of the Ishvara, is dealt in the second or the Dvidiya Shatkam. And of course, the Asi Padartha, which is the Jivatma Paramatma Aikya Vichara, is dealt in the Charama Shatkam or the Antima Shatkam. So, the nature of Ishvara, the topic itself begins from the 7th chapter. So here again in this 8th chapter, we are talking about the nature of the Ishvara. So we all know that Bhagavad Gita is a moksha shastra. Moksha is what? The ultimate destination of the human being. In the dharma, artha, krama, moksha, chaturvida, moksha is the shreyas, whereas the other 3 are the preyas. The shreyas is the ultimate destination. Is it really a destination? That is something that we have all read and studied earlier. It is not a destination. It is a siddha vastu. We all have that. But unfortunately, that realization is covered by the layers and layers of the ignorance, layers of the impurities in the mind. And those impurities are removed through the sadhanas of karma yoga and upasana yoga. Then you realize that you are that ultimate truth that you are looking for. That is the asipadartha. That realization and abiding to that knowledge is the moksha. So, what is this abidance to the ultimate knowledge? Abidance is that realization that I am none other than the Satchidananda Brahman, that which is the Nirguna Ishvara. Now, Bhagavad Gita, being a moksha shastra, deals with this gnanam only, except the 8th chapter. 8th chapter deals with the Saguna Brahma. Saguna is the God with the attributes. Can be called as Saguna Brahman. In that is the word which is used. God with the attributes is Saguna. That Brahman without attributes is Nirguna. Of course, when we say Brahman, it is Nirguna only. But in order to enter the Nirguna Swarupa, we have to go through the Saguna form. Saguna form itself has 2 varieties. The first one is Ekarupa Ishvara, the God with one form, like the idol of Rama, Krishna, Anjaneya, Venkateshwara, etc. Or even Lingam for that matter. Now, The other higher version of the Saguna Brahma is the Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa is the entire universe itself, is the manifestation of the God. So the attitudinal shift that a bhakta gets on visualizing the universe is the Vishwarupa. So from this form of Vishwarupa, Ishvara, which is the Saguna Brahma, one can transcend to the Nirguna. In the 8th chapter, Krishna realizes that there are so many sadhakas. In fact, in the 7th chapter itself, we saw a verse, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yadati siddhaye. There are so many people, amongst them only few are interested in this spiritual sadhana. Amongst them, only few of them will get the gnanam. Amongst those few, only few will be abiding and then reach the ultimate or realize and become a Gnananishta. So there are so many of them who are still doing the Upasana, who are still interested, but they are stuck at the Saguna Rupa only. So this entire chapter is dedicated for the Saguna Ishvara Upasana. And also in the Dvitiya Shatkam, the yoga, the discipline which is emphasized is the Upasana Yoga. Upasana itself means the meditation. Meditation in any form is Upasana. That meditation which helps us quietening our restless mind is Upasana Yoga. The first Shatkam we dealt with Karma Yoga, and the second Shatkam is dealing with the Upasana Yoga. So what is Upasana Yoga? Upasana Yoga is Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyapara. So each word is very important, and that is brilliantly explained by Swami Paramatmanandaji. So Saguna Brahma, we are talking about the Brahman with attributes. So you are meditating upon, that is the Vishaya, that is the topic. And where are you doing it? Is it like doing a puja or is it chanting loudly? No. If you are doing a puja and chanting or using any homas, all of them will come under karma yoga. It is not upasana yoga. Only the mental activity it is called as upasana yoga. So it is a manasa activity. It is in the mind only. And then vyaparaha. This is what is happening inside the mind. So it is a mental activity, and all other activities do come under karma yoga. And there are two types as we have talked about. One is sakama upasana. Sakama upasana is iha paraloka phalani. So somebody who does this upasana, meditate upon this God for the finite benefits, either in this universe, this world, or in the above worlds. There are different, we will be seeing later on in this class also. There are so many higher lokas, either here or elsewhere. If somebody is asking, I want Swarga Loka, I want to go to Swarga, then it is a material desire only. So, Iha Paraloka Palani, whoever has those things in mind, that still comes under dharma, artha, kama only. So that is called as Sakama Upasana. What is important to realize is that is not at all connected with spirituality. In fact, nowhere in Bhagavad Gita, it talks about you do Upasana for this reason. Nishkama Upasana, on the other hand, is there are no material desires. This sadhaka is a mumukshu, Tivra mumukshu. The only goal is the self-realization. Only goal is the spiritual elevation. So this is what is addressed in the entire Madhyama Shatkam, including this 8th chapter. So this Nishkama Upasana is of two types. Nishkama Upasana, you do Nishkama Upasana. Of course, one would be parallelly doing Karma Yoga also. That is also Nishkama Yoga, which means any activities that we are doing is done as a Ishvara Arpana Bhava, and you accept any results as Ishvara Arpana, Ishvara Prasada Bhava. And then you become a Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna. We have seen before what is this Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna: Viveka, Vairagya, Mumukshatvam, and Shatka Sampatti. So these are the fourfold qualifications. Viveka is the discrimination between what is eternal and what is ephemeral. And second D, Vairagya, is dispassion. Dispassion is having dispassion towards the ephemeral And then the third D is the desire, intense desire, the mumukshatvam towards the eternal. And then the sixfold qualifications called shama, dhamma, uparama, etc. So those are, if somebody is, anchored and gotten all these qualities, that person is called as sadhana chatushtaya sampanna, or in other words, called as adhikari. So that is a prerequisite to enter into Jnana Yoga. So once somebody has done that, they withdraw from nishkama upasana, they enter Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga, as you know, has Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravanam is the systematic study of the scripture under a competent guru. What kind of a guru? That guru who is a Shrotriya Brahmanishta, one who is not only studied the Shastra systematically, but who is also anchored in this knowledge and also can communicate this so clearly. And we are so lucky to have such gurus in the form of Swami Paramarthananda, Swami Shankara Bharati, etc. So once that self-knowledge comes, that person is liberated. That is the moksha. And that person, on anchoring to this jnanam through nididhyasanam, gets what is called as sadhyo mukti or Jeevan mukti. That is the liberation in this life. Now, that is a central theme of the whole of Bhagavad Gita, except the chapter 8, except the chapter that we are studying. So in the chapter 8, in the second arrows, we can see the same nishkama upasaka continues doing nishkama upasana, but he has not entered the Jnana Yoga for various reasons. Maybe because of the Prabala Prarabdha and there is a Akala Mrityu, or for not getting a guru, or for some other reasons he is not entered. But that Upasaka is a Nishkama Upasaka. He doesn't have any material desires. There is only spiritual desire, but not gotten into Jnana Yoga. And this person goes to higher lokas. He takes Shukla Gati and reaches Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka is the highest lokas as far as all the lokas that are described in the Shastras. There he gets the Brahma Gnanam from the Brahmaji, the Chaturmukha Brahma, who is a Srishtikarta. And then from there he gets liberated. And this path is called as krama mukti. And this is the teaching of the chapter 8. We have already seen Arjuna asking 7 questions, and all of them are dealt with earlier. Very quickly, he asks about what is Brahma. In other words, what is Brahman? And the answer for that is Atma from the macrocosmic angle. What is Adhyatma? Atma from the microcosmic angle. He asks what is karma, which is the collective punya and papa karmas which are responsible for this creation. In other words, all the manifestation, unmanifestation happens because of the collective karma palas only. It is not happening because of the God's magic. It is a collective karma palas of the entire humanity. What is Adi Bhutam? The material universe which is made up of Panchabhutani. Panchabhutani starting from Akasha to Prithvi. Then what is Adi Daivam? Adi Daivam is the Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is the sum total of the subtle bodies. We know that in a microcosm, it is represented as Taijasa. But in the macrocosm, it is a sum total of the subtle bodies of the entire human beings and living beings. What is Adi? Adi Yagna? Adi Yagna is Ishvara. Ishvara, as we know, is Brahman plus Maya, who is none other than the Karma Paladhata. And he asks about Prayana Kale Khatam Jneya Si, what are we to be known at the time of the death? So that is a question asked by Arjuna, and that question is dealt very elaborately that we have seen. Whatever is the last thought of the person before death, that defines one's personality. And Krishna says, you think about me, you will reach me. And how can anybody think about the God at the time of the death? That cannot happen if you just start thinking about the God at that time. Yuddha kaladali shastra abhyasa. That is a saying. There is a saying in Kannada. Preparing just before the war. Obviously, that is going to be a disaster and you're going to lose the war. Only that person who is well versed, prepared, And those qualities are in a way becomes his own personality. Only that person can remember the God even at the time of the death. And that is what is covered already. So from the verses 15 to 22, Krishna talks about two kinds of people based on the goals in their life. Here in this chapter, we should remember that it is when we say God, it is the Saguna or Saguna Brahman is talked about. And we can, of course, look at it from the Nirguna Brahman aspect also. Those who keep God as the ultimate destination, they are called as the wise ones. And they know that they will get the total peace, security, and happiness, either here or when they go to Brahmaloka. Whereas people who fall for only prayers, the worldly pleasures, they are not so wise, because we know that anything which is in the material world has three inherent doshas, three inherent defects, which is bandhakatvam, the bondage that it creates, atruptikaratvam, whatever you have, you want to have a bit more. Therefore, there is never really that trupti. And dukkha mishritatvam, which is when you lose that particular, whatever you have possessed, either a material or a person, your own body and mind, there is going to be a dukkha. There is always going to be a sorrow. So the upasana phalam on relying on the God is infinite. Whereas, those people who rely on the world, they get only finite benefits. So that is also explained in the 15th verse. It is told that mamopetya punarjanma dukkhalayama shashvatam. So those who only aim for the God or spiritual pursuit are the ones who will never come back to this world again. This world is full of dukkha, like Devalaya, Dukkhalaya. The world is called as Dukkhalaya. It is a place for the miseries, all the insecurities. Those people who are clever, who pursue in this spiritual path, will not come back onto this Dukkhalaya. With this background, we will move to today's session. I invite Ulas to kindly explain the 16th verse, please.
Thank you, Dr. Divakar. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. As we see in this verse, A Brahma Bhuvannal Lokaha Punaravartino Arjuna Mamupetya tu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. So, as Dr. Divakar was just mentioning, that there are different lokas are there, and the highest loka is the Brahma Loka. In the next slide, we will see that for our understanding, they have given that currently we are at the Bhuloka on earth, and then there are some higher lokas, 7 of them. There are actually some lower lokas also, 7 of them. So it's nothing but different levels of experiences. So once we become, go higher and higher in our sadhanas and upasana and this and that, then we reach to higher lokas. So from Bhulok, we go to Bhuvar, Swar, Mahar, Jana, Tappa, Satya Loka, also called Brahma Loka. So the Brahma Loka is the highest loka. So is my goal that I reach to Brahma Loka? Well, that can be goal for some people, but that's not the ultimate pursuit, at least what we are here for. In the next slide, we would see that Brahma Loka, even though it is the highest loka, from there also, if after some time, we will again descend back to the Bhuloka, because that is also a function, it is also working in the realm of space and time. And anything which is working in the realm of space and time is going to be taken away. It's not going to be the permanent thing. And what we are here looking for is something permanent. We are not looking for something which is ephemeral. Dr. Devakar had said we are after the eternal thing. And so Brahma Loka is not eternal. Forget about us. Even Brahmaji himself is not eternal. There are so many Brahmajis that will come after every creation. So we'll keep returning back. That's what it says, Punaravartin. Arjuna, we will keep coming back. You will keep coming back if you are still behind these lokas only. So only something that is beyond this time and space is the one that is going to be ultimate. So that is the one that you must seek. In the next slide, they explain the second line in which Krishna says, and what is that something which is beyond time and space? It is me. It is Krishna. It is that consciousness principle. Krishna here is not that personal God. He is representing the consciousness principle. which is beyond time and space. And once we go attain him, once we realize our real nature, then there is no rebirth, then there is no punaravartin, then there is no punarjanma, punarmaran. So that is what is being asked for. Now, as again repeating what Dr. Divakar said, was that in chapter 8, it is being told that we have to remember this at the time of the death. So here we are talking about what we have to do. But again, when we have to do that, we have to do this all the time. When even when nobody is watching, like Olympics are going on, they say that you have to practice when nobody is watching. Michael Phelps would be swimming at 10 o'clock in the night when nobody is watching. It is dark, it is cold water, but he's doing that. So when we are in the hardest of the situations, it's not only in the class that we need to remember all this. In the hard situations, in all the cases, we have to remember Krishna Mam Upetya. We have to be under his guidance, we have to be surrendering to him, and that is the only thing which is beyond time and space. That is the one which will take us to the ultimate level. It's not taking us to stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 7, and then from 7 we are again coming back to 0, and then we are going to -2, then we are going to 4. All this punarapi, this whole merry-go-round will go on. So waves will come and go. You can become a smaller wave, you can become a bigger wave, but until we realize that we are water, this whole merry-go-round will keep on going on. And so all the time, once the wave knows that I am water, then it doesn't matter which loci we are in, then we are in the highest, we are one with the ultimate. So that's what being told in this verse. So let us ensure all the time we are trying to do this mamupetya to Kaunteya, so that there is no punarjanma. Thank you, sir. Hari Om.
Thank you, Ulaf. As usual, very lucid, very lucid presentation. As you mentioned already, so here in this particular verse, there is a word called as bhavana, bhuvana. So what is this bhuvana? Abrahma bhuvanat bhavanti yasmin bhutani iti bhuvanam. So wherever there is a living being, that place is called as bhuvana. Brahmano bhuvanam, Brahma bhuvanam, Brahmaloka iti artha. So this is taking from the Bhashyam. So bhuvanam is equal to 14 lokas, as you have already talked about, and Brahmaloka is right on top of it. So punarjanma nivritti means there is no SAP, there is no karma palas, sanchita, agami, and prarabdha karmas. And now Swamiji explains this while talking about Shankara Bhashyam. He says, for the junior level sadhakas, when we say punarjanma does not exist, it means that they are beyond this karmas. But for the senior sadhakas, senior spiritual students, we know that even this punarjanma, anything that we talk in the realms of the law of karma, also is a adhyasa. So it is also a superimposition, because the karmas belong to body mind, not to the atma. All throughout, when we say karmas get burnt out, there is no more new karmas, all of them are to the body mind only. Everything is an adhyasa. Swamiji explains this so beautifully. So there is a beautiful mantra also. So this beautiful mantra says, Gunaihi Gauramayataha Hari Brahma Haradayah Gunathitaya Asmakam Guravaha Gurutam Gataha. It is so beautiful that how do we aim towards this Gunathita? Yes, there is a separate, chapter in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, which deals with this so systematically. So here, our Guru, what is the status of a Guru, is talked about in this shloka. Brahmaji is representative of Rajoguna. Through his Rajoguna, he does all the creation. He creates everything. Vishnu, through the Sattva Guna, sustains, maintains the whole universe. Whereas Lord Shiva, through his Tamo Guna, will be a Layakaraka. He destroys everything. Now, who is this Guru? He is Gunatita. He transcends Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So, Mam Upetya, when we say Mam Upetya, it is not Krishna, the Saguna Krishna, it is a Nirguna Krishna. So Guru is given that status. And this Guru, who is the embodiment of this Gunatita, is talked about in the higher pedestal than Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. And we have also seen in Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu Stotra also. We'll move on to the next two verses that will be explained by Srimati Ramaji.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, shlokas 17 and 18. In the shlokas 15 to 22, Shri Krishna establishes that Upasana phalam is superior to karma phalam. Karma phalam is parichinnaha, finite, because it exists in time and space. Upasana phalam results in krama mukti, attaining parabrahman, as nitya phalam. It is aparichinnaha, meaning infinite. Highest material result of karma phalam is Brahma Loka Praptihi, which is also time bound. Sri Krishna wants to disclose that anything other than Brahman is anityam. So indirectly, Sri Krishna is indicating nitya nitya vastu vivekaha. To establish this, he talks about the duration of seemingly infinite Brahmaji's lifespan. All the 14 lokas are finite and results in punarjanma. Both Brahmaji and his loka are subjected to time, so they are punaravartinaha. Anything bound by time and space will be subject to arrival and departure, and that is given in the shloka 17. Here, Sri Krishna gives an incidental information that the universe emerges when Brahmaji's day begins, and the whole creation resolves during his night time. Similarly, when the Jiva wakes up, the individual world manifests and resolves when the Jiva sleeps. With this background, let us learn the shlokas, meaning of the shlokas 17 and 18. And the shloka 17 is in the next slide, and it says, Sahasra Yoga Paryantam Aharyat Brahmano Viduho Ratrim Yuga Sahasrantam Teho Ratra Vido Janaha. And the translation says, one day of Brahmaji, that is a kalpa, lasts 1,000 cycles of the 4 ages, Mahayuga, and his night also extends for the same span of time. The wise who know this understand the reality about day and night. Moving on to the next slide, the term yuga represents a number 4 and also duration of time like month, year, etc. It is derived from the root yuj, meaning to join or yoke. Commonly, yuga means kalpas or 1,000 mahayugas. Each mahayuga is composed of 4 yugas, namely Kruta Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. According to Vishnu Purana, each Chatur Yuga cycle lasts for 4.32 million years. The duration of each Mahayuga with its 4 yugas is mentioned in the slide. The duration for each yuga is in the ratio of 4:3:2:1, starting from Kruta Yuga. That is, Kruta Yuga lasts for 4 times the duration of Kali Yuga, Treta Yuga for 3 times of Kali Yuga, Dwapara Yuga 2 times, and then Kali Yuga ends after 4,32,000 years. When Kali Yuga ends, a new cycle of Chatur Yuga begins, similar to Jiva's Janmas. The total of all these yugas is called one Mahayuga, which is equal to 4.32 million years on earth. In the next slide, we see Brahmaji's day and night as explained. 1,000 such Mahayugas is 1 kalpa or 1,000 divine years. Kalpa is the largest unit of time in the world, which is equal to 4.32 billion years. This is the daytime of Brahmaji and referred to as Sahasra Yuga Paryantam in this shloka. 1,000 such Chatur Yugas is Brahmaji's day, and his night is also of equal duration. Puja Swami Paramarthanandaji says that Brahmaji will tear off one sheet from his daily calendar at the end of 2 Sahasra Yugas. Of these 2 Sahasra Chatur Yugas, 1000 Chatur Yugas is called Parardha, in which Brahmaji keeps awake, and another 1000 Chatur Yugas he sleeps. This is indicated by the word Yuga Sahasrantam. Brahma's one day and night put together make 8.64 billion Earth years, and his lifespan lasts for 100 such years. And after 8.64 billion Earth years, he will have to vacate his position, and it would make 311 trillion and 40 billion years, which is also equal to one life cycle of our universe. This shows that even becoming Brahmaji will not ensure liberation. Ahoratra vidaha janaha. Those people who have studied the scriptures that talk about the duration of all lokas know these details. They are called the knowers of the time range of the different beings in various lokas. Now, an interesting thing is explained in the shloka 18, and it says what happens during the day and night of Brahmaji. And the shloka says, Avyaktadyaktaye sarvaha prabhavantyah ragame ratriagame praliyante tatraiva vyakta sangnake. The translation is, from the unmanifest, all manifested things are born at the advent of Brahma's day, and at the approach of his night, they get merged in that very thing called the unmanifest. The activities during Brahmaji's daytime is shown in the next slide. Avyaktaha, the unmanifest, is the cause or potential condition, and Vyaktayaha, or the manifest, or the effects. Every effect has its cause, like gold for all golden ornaments. When Brahma goes to sleep, all lokas and beings, including us, merge in the Avyakta Prakriti, the cause. When Brahmaji wakes up, Vyaktayaha, the objective world, along with Jiva Rashis, emerge from and merge back to Avyaktaha. That is the unmanifest condition. This cyclic process of appearing and disappearing of lokas and jivas has no beginning or end. A commentator indicates that Brahmaji's day is called Kalpa and night called Kalpa Paralayam is similar to our day and night. When our day begins, our own world of interaction in the Dvaita Prapancha also begins. It is a fully active world with interactions, knowledge, emotions, etc. involving Desha, Kala and Vastu. In the next slide, we see activities during Brahmaji's night time. This world of plurality and all transactions involving time, space and objects are resolved in our deep sleep state. Dissolution at the Jiva or microcosmic level is called Layaha, whereas when Brahmaji sleeps, the dissolution of the universe happens at the macrocosmic level and it is called Pralayam. During Pralayam, the manifestation of the objective world, that is Vyaktavastha, resolves into Avyakta Sangnake, a state called unmanifest. The shlokas 17 and 18 can be analyzed together as follows, as you see in the next slide. Ahoratra vido janaha. The eminent scholars of scriptures understood Brahma's day and night as follows. Brahmanaha yat sahasra yuga paryantam ahaha sarvaha vyaktayaha avyaktat prabhavanti. At the approach of the day, the beings manifest or emerge from the unmanifest, and then Brahmanaha Yuga Sahasrantam Ratriagame Sarvaha Vyaktayaha Avyakta Sangnake Praliyante. At the approach of his night, these beings merge in the unmanifest. Even the highest evolute, Brahmaji and his loka are bound by time, even though they look relatively longer. When he completes his tenure of 2 Sahasra Yugas, he disappears and merges in the ultimate. Thank you. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you very much, Rama ma'am, for that beautiful explanation. So you've talked about what does the one day of Brahmaji, Chaturmukha Brahma consists of. So all of that you have given those details. So we are currently in the 51st year of Brahma's life, which means he has crossed the second half. So Dvitiya Pararde, in the Sankalpa, when we say Shubhadito Shobhane Muhurte Adya Brahmanaha, Dvitiya Pararde is the word which is used. Pararda is 50. So one half is over. The 51st year is what is going on currently. So which means 28 Chatur Yugas are over. So again, as mentioned earlier, even Brahmaji is not permanent. He is also dispensable. After this, that position will be taken by somebody else. So Brahma is a position, not the name of the person. Just like even Anjaneya, they say is a position. Indra is a position. So whoever comes, it's like president or prime minister. So someone else will come to that position after his tenure gets over. So Kala Parichinnatvat, Parichinnatvat. So all lokas, all the 14 lokas, including Brahmaji, they are all subjected to time, and therefore it is not eternal. So again, you have talked about all this cyclical process of evolution and involution. Those who realize about their own day and night will understand the day and night of the Brahman or Brahmaji also. Just like how we get to the deep sleep, everything seems to be merging into the deep sleep. Our Jagrata Avastha merges into Swapna, and both Swapna and Jagrata merges into Sushupti. And in the morning, we wake up again. And again, there is a beautiful Kannada poem written by Dara Bendre, Nidde Gomme Nitya Marana, Eddasala Navina Janana. So that comes in the Yugadi. Yugadi poem. So every day is like the death. When you go to sleep, it is the death. When you wake up in the morning, it is a life again. That is how one kind of starts to see when they understand these things carefully. So everything is talked about avyakta from the Brahmaji's point of view. This is Virat avyakta. There is another bigger avyakta, bigger than that, which is the Hiranyagarbha avyakta. And bigger to that is called as Maha avyakta, which is called Ishvara avyakta. So vyaktaha is vyajnante iti vyaktaha. So sthavaram jangama lakshanaha sarva prajaha prabhavante. All the living beings originate, come into manifestation, and then they go back into unmanifestation. And this was also beautifully talked about in the Mandukya Upanishad. If you look at this verse, Mandukya Upanishad, as we know, deals with our Avastatraya and then the Omkara, and then correlating all three of them. The M in the Omkara, if you say A-U-M, Makara, represents the Sushupti. So there the example given is this Sushupti stage is a bit like the measure. Those kind of vessels or small measures that we use to measure the rice or any other grains, etc. Just like how everything enters into this measure, mithehe, and then it comes out when you pour it back again. That just like that, the swapna and Jagrata Avastha merges into the deep sleep and goes into an unmanifested state. And in the morning, it comes out again and comes into a manifested state. We'll move on to the 19th verse, and this will be explained by Srimati Purnimaji.
Thank you, Dr. Divakar. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Bhutagrama Sayevayam भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे वशः पार्थ प्रभवत्य अहरागमे. Next slide. By rearranging the words, the anvaya of the shloka is as follows. Sa evayam bhutagramah bhutva bhutva ratragame praliyate aharagame prabhavati avashah partha. Sa evayam bhutagramah, that very same multitude of beings, bhutva bhutva, having emerged again and again, ratragame, on the arrival of the night of Brahmaji, praliyate, merges unmanifest. Aharagame, on the arrival of the day of Brahmaji, prabhavati, it remanifests, avashaha, helplessly, partha, O Arjuna. Next slide. In the previous verse, we saw that the universe goes to unmanifest condition and again comes to manifestation. During this process of manifestation and unmanifestation, what happens to all the jivas is explained in this verse. It is insisted here by Lord Krishna that the very same multitude of beings are born again and again and merge in spite of themselves. Lord Krishna says all the jivas will have the same destiny. They will go to unmanifest condition in which all the jivas will remain in their potential inactive form. They will remain dormant. Again, after 1000 Chatur Yugas, the Jivas will emerge with their Punyam and Papam intact. In a way, we experience this process each time we go to sleep, and it is the same experience at death. It is the same experience at Pralayam also. The first part of this verse is the same as in the previous verse. Shrusti and Pralayam is an eternal process. Next slide, sir. The new idea that is added is Sa evayam bhutagramaha. Shankaracharya in his Bhashyam uses the word bhuta samudayaha, which means it is the same multitude of jivas which are circulated. The set of jivas are anadi and fresh set of jivas are not created. In Shankara Bhashya, the word jivaha includes all that existed in the earlier cycle of creation, that is moving living beings like human beings, animals, birds, insects, etc., and also non-moving living beings in the form of plant kingdom. It also includes all the beings of all the 14 lokas too. As such, the total number of jivas will always be the same. The distribution of jivas may and will vary. We could be born as a human or an animal or an insect. It depends on our purva karma. Swami Chinmayananda therefore says that man becomes enslaved by his thoughts and emotions, an individual being nothing other than the thoughts that he entertains. Next slide. Bhutva bhutva. Repeating this expression is to reiterate that the process is eternal and is repeated again and again and again. Ratragame praliyate. On the arrival of the night of Brahma, that is at the time of Kalpa Pralayam, all the jivas will merge into Samastikarana Prapancha called Avyaktam. The jivas will remain dormant. Aharagame prabhavati avashaha. On the arrival of the day of Brahmaji, that is in the next kalpa, all the jivas remanifest, emerge again, avashaha, helplessly, O Arjuna. Next slide. In Bhashyam, avashaha is aswatantra, cycle of helplessness and frustration. Avashaha is a powerful expression indicating the incapacity of an individual to disinherit himself from his past. Next slide. The past always faithfully follows us like our shadow, darkening our path when we turn our back to the light of knowledge and accompany us submissively at our heels like a guardian angel when we turn towards the effulgent self and wend our way towards it. Next slide. Krishna says, next slide. Krishna says, the Jiva's journey in the form of Punarapi Jananam Punarapi Maranam cycle, also known as the wheel of samsara, will continue eternally as long as Jiva is ignorant. Death nor pralayam can put an end to this journey. One will not be able to get off the wheel of samsara unless one follows Krishna's advice as to how to attain moksha. Swamiji explains, immortality as Jiva is samsara and immortality as Brahman is called moksha. This shift from eternal Jiva to eternal Brahman is called Jnanam, which one has to gain either in Bhuloka or in Brahmaloka. The next verse will talk about this shift. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you so much, Purnimaji. That was a brilliant explanation of a very important verse. So a lot of points are brought out in this verse. And we saw from the Jiva's perspective how when they go into the sleep, particularly the deep sleep, everything becomes unmanifested, and in the morning everything becomes manifested. And we have seen from Brahmaji's point of view, from avyakta to vyakta. Avyakta is unmanifest, and from there to vyakta, the manifestation. So you have talked about it beautifully. So here a question will come. I think Swamiji also asks this question. An intelligent student would ask, what happens, if all the jivas become jnanis and they are not born again? And then the answer is also given by Swamiji. That scenario may not happen because the jivas are also innumerable. In fact, the word infinite is also used there. This countless number of jivas, and the karma phalas of all of them will mean that there will be a manifestation and unmanifestation. And also, this question is asked. It's like a Purva Pakshi's question. This is all covered in the Bhashyam. That again, the same jivas are born again. Why not create a new jiva every time when there is a new manifestation? If there is a new srishti, why not create the new jivas? Again, that answer is given. There will be a moral violation of the law of karma if that were to happen. Then what happens to all those people who have accumulated a lot of punya karma, let us say? And that also should be exhausted, so they should take birth again. So even talking from the people who have done the good deeds, that this logic of new jivas coming does not stand. And the second reason given is the karma pala data or the god, even Brahmaji will find it very difficult to decide which jiva should get what body, what medium, who should get the plant body, who should get the animal body, who should get the human body, etc. without any benchmark. Therefore, the karma principle is used. If the same set of jivas are born again and again, there is really no scope for Vedanta Vichara also. How do you even transcend? How do you even think about the attaining the self-knowledge? So those were the reasons which is talked about. So in order to maintain the moral order, there is no new jivas which are born. It is based on the karma ashaya vasat. So because of the infinite bundle of the sanchita karmas, the karana sharira, the same set of jivas will take birth again and again. And we have seen that in the Dakshinamurti Stotra also, in the second verse, where how bijasyantari vankurav jagaditam prangnirvikalpam punaha. Punaha is the word which is used. So it's a cyclical repetition of the manifest to unmanifest and unmanifest to manifest. So that is the process. And therefore, the word creation itself is a misnomer. We'll move on to the last verse of today. Dr. Manjula, please.
Thank you, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Verse 8.20.
परतस्मात् भावोऽन्यः अव्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनः यः स सर्वेषु भूतेषु नश्यत्सु न विनश्यति. The Anvaya goes like this. To, however, paraha, beyond, tasmat avyaktat, that unmanifest, anyaha avyakta bhavaha, there is another unmanifest being, yaha sanatanaha, which is eternal. Saha, it, na vinishyati, does not perish. Sarveshu bhuteshu, all beings, natshyatsu, perish. The shloka meaning is, however, beyond this unmanifested, there's another another unmanifested being, which is eternal. It does not perish when all beings perish too. Next slide, sir. Any result which falls in matter is bound by time and will have two conditions, that is manifest, that is vyakta or karya prapancha, and unmanifested matter, which is avyakta and karana prapancha. Beyond this, there's another one, which is also labeled as unmanifested too in this picture, which is the consciousness principle. If you see over here, this avyakta karana prapancha is also called maya. Maya becomes world and world also becomes maya. World is also matter and maya is also matter, and both exist in time. There's another one, which is unmanifested number 2, which we see here, the consciousness principle, that is the witness principle of the unmanifested condition of the matter, as well as the unmanifested matter too. It does not fall within the witness field, as the observer is different from and beyond the observed. When we relate to the daily experience that we see the 3 states, in waking and dream state, there is a world, there is time, and there is space, vyakta state. In both the states, I'm experiencing a material world that is conditioned by time and space. In deep sleep state, that is the avyakta, the whole material world is dissolved and time and space goes to unmanifest condition, and there is total blankness. There is someone who is aware of this blankness too. Who is that entity? That entity, which is witness consciousness, which was present throughout, not changing even when the duality came, and the duality resolved and remained unaffected. That is the Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Brahman, along with Maya, is the cause of Jagat. Brahma's ashraya, Sattva Rajas Tanmo Gunatmika, Maya Asti. So Brahman, that's the Purusha over here, lends its existence to the Maya, which is the manifested form. That doesn't mean that Maya is an independent entity, but has borrowed its existence from the Brahman. So basically, we have the unmanifested condition, nothing but the Brahman. The paraha tasmat avyakta anvaya avyaktaha. Paraha, that means beyond. One avyaktaha is that unmanifested matter, and beyond this is there another unmanifested matter, which is a consciousness principle, and that is eternal. We say that is eternal because it is changeless and it is the witness consciousness, and it does not have any effect either during the arrival or the dissolution of time. Yaha saha sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. This consciousness does not perish even when all beings perish. But here the word perish is for the unmanifested condition. Next slide, sir. A gross mind cannot appreciate that subtle consciousness. Human intellect cannot conceive something which is beyond time and space. Until it gets sufficiently sensitized, we have to attribute to a form. Then only the ultimate approach to God, that is Shuddha Chaitanya Swarupam, happens. To the question which Arjuna asked, Kim Tad Brahma? Krishna answers Arjuna to discover that oneness with the God, that is the Shuddha Chaitanya Swarupam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manjula, for the nice explanation. So you mentioned this already. So here, avyakta number 1 is Maya, and the avyakta number 2 is Brahman. So the remedy to come out of all the limited, pleasures, and how to get out of the time and the space is talked about here. So that is also dealt with in the 13th verse, Aksharam Brahma, Omityeka Aksharam Brahma. So Omkara Upasana and then Brahman was talked about. So Avyakta number 2 is the Brahman. So here two words are used, para and anya. Both of them are used to differentiate the Maya and the Brahman. So here one para is one is the another, and to say they used two words meaning the same thing to mention that it is another one but also different one. Both Maya and Brahman, as we know, are eternal. Even Maya is anadi and avyaktam, both of them are. But Maya, as we know, is jada. It is inert. It gets the sentience from the Brahman, and that is very well explained. Okay. So all the statuses, all the status of any lokas falls within the samsara only, be it Bhuloka till the Brahmaloka. Only the Sakshi, only the Satchidananda Atma, the Nirguna Brahman is beyond the time and the space, and who is beyond the time and the space, does not fall in samsara, and that is what is moksha. So with this, we conclude today's talk, and I thank all the speakers, and thanks to Dr. Timappa. Over to you, Venkatesh sir.
Thank you, Dr. Divakar sir, and all speakers of the day for a wonderful session. Thank you, friends, for your active participation. Let's tune in at 6:45 p.m. on Friday, the 30th August 24, for session 15 of Mandukya Upanishad to study Karikas 34 to 38 from Vaidhatya Prakaranam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you.